What is going on, beautiful people out there today? My name is Edward. That's what my mother called me. She named me after my father, who is a great man. And I know you're wondering out there, why do you have on this voice? This is our political voice. We're bringing you presidential election coverage today. Um, you know who I am. We already got that established. But with me on the podcast today, I have my political correspondents with me. Um, First, starting with the NWA Dallas Cowboys behind him, we have Sedacious. He's our Houston correspondent and a little bit out of Houston, but still, not too far from it. We also have our correspondent, Darnell, a.k.a. Black Peace, as you see, Love in H-Town. He's out there in the Conroe region covering the polls for us. And last but certainly not least, our senior correspondent out in D.C. covering the D.C. area for us, that would be Coach Johnson. And our brother Sean Hart will be coming on. He's still out there in the fields, getting people's opinions, seeing how they feel about the vote, seeing if they were being suppressed. He's coming in later on in the podcast to give us all the information he's gathered out there in the field. But yes, we are with you here live today, if you're getting this coverage from us, you should feel very thankful that you don't have to listen to CNN or listen to Fox or read some hoax article, because we're going to give it to you real. And with that, without further ado, let's get to the shit, baby. Yo, babe. All right, so look, the presidential election is today, fellas. Are you Team Biden? Are you Team Trump? Nobody needs to say that out loud. Whoever you voted for or did not vote for, it's your right or your choice. But before we kick it off to our senior correspondent, I want to kick it off to Black Peace, who's out there in the Houston, out there on the Houston skirts of Montgomery, Texas. Darnell, how do you feel about these elections there, sir?
I honestly think it's a good battle, man. I've been watching it closely, paying attention to things that are swaying voters, and I'm very intrigued to see the outcome, to be honest with you. I mean, honestly, I feel kind of no different about either or, but I did make my choice. So there you go.
And next, ladies and gentlemen, we have Live, the rapper, who's also been around the polling stations today. Live, what did you see out there that may interest you or that you think people should know about these elections and how it may or may not turn out?
Okay, actually, Edward, what I want to do is I want to take a little turn right now, and I'm actually going to give it to Coach Johnson because I have what we like to call some shock takes tonight, and so
no. It's imperative. It's imperative that you go first before he do, because I think Coach Johnson's shock takes are going to be ridiculous unless you want to give him the alley oop till we let your high come down.
I give him the alley. I'm telling you, because he's gonna have a more directive perspective on this than I will. My perspective is more so indirect.
Well, giving it to our senior correspondent, coming out of Washington, D.C., he's from Florida, a little bit from Louisiana, so he's been able to research the polling areas in various different states. Brilliant mind, I tell you. You may not agree with what he says, but the man does know what he's talking about. Coach Johnson, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you, Edward, for getting me in here. I really do appreciate it. It's a beautiful day for America, man. It's the election day. It's a lot of civic engagement. We have historic numbers of people out at the polls. Are casting their ballots or getting involved and letting their voice be heard. It's really, really exciting for all of those who love this country and love being a part of it. So that's exciting. Some things that are on the ground. The race is a lot tighter than what some of the polls have suggested beforehand. Just about a month out, people thought that Biden would win in a landslide. Some of the polls were a little wrong. They had Biden taking Florida. Trump has already taken Florida. They had North Carolina and Georgia as a toss-up from both of those states. I think a lot of polls had Biden winning North Carolina. Trump is taking North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. So those are big key states to let us know early on if this was actually going to be a race or if Biden was going to win outright. A couple of states that we need to look at going forward, Texas is actually a toss-up. So I know there's been a movement to try to turn Texas blue here for a while now, for about the past 6 years. And it looks like the folks there on the ground in the Democrat Party have made some inroads and trying to get that going. So it's actually a toss-up for the first time in a long time there in Texas. Ohio looks like Trump is going to have to do some work there to try to catch up to what Biden is doing there in Ohio. And that might lend itself to show us what's going to happen in Pennsylvania. If things work out for Trump tonight, his best case scenario is that the race comes down to Pennsylvania, and that he's able to try to take that one home. But right now it's looking pretty tight. I'm enjoying it. So we'll see. I don't know if you want me to come out with the bombshells yet, Edward. Or
say the bombs. We don't need the bombs just yet,
But hey, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I've been excited all day, so it's good to see, man. It's good to see civic engagement.
Keep your heavy artillery tucked for now there, my friend. Thanks for reporting live from Washington, D.C. there for us. So I'm going to kick.
So how I feel is, sorry, Edward. Sorry, Edward. I'm cutting you off because this shock perspective that I feel like I have comes from like some of the common people, the common folk, who feel like we really just don't give a fuck who wins. We don't care because what we have to do is we have to put on our boots, we have to lace up our bootstraps, we have to go to work even after whoever becomes president. Yeah, it is important because certain legislation, it will take place when someone is in that position, but at the end of the day, we still have to get up every day and take care of our own, no matter who's president. Yeah, it's important to vote. It's important to exercise that right, especially for me as a black man, because of what my ancestors went through for me to be able to do it today. So I partake in it. But at the end of the day, bro, honestly, it's just me taking care. The president is not helping me taking care of my little girls. Yeah, like there are programs and things put in place for my assistance, but at the end of the day, like it's me. It's all me. So like, that's just how I feel about it. Like when it really boils down to it. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I think it's important. I do believe that. But I do have to think about the person that can't vote. The person that can't vote and everybody's on some hoorah, hoorah, go vote, who doesn't really give a fuck about the common man, just putting the sticker, I voted sticker on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm speaking for that person.
I think Sedacious, if I can just jump in real quick, Edward, I think your sentiment is something that actually does need to be heard. And it needs to be discussed, especially for those who are highly engaged in politics and civics. It's sad that a lot of people in the country, and it says something about our politics and our politicians and just the whole arena, that there's a significant portion of the country that thinks like that. It says, hey, look, it doesn't matter. They're not thinking about me. They're not working on my behalf. I'm gonna deal with the same BS tomorrow, no matter who wins, and nothing there is gonna change for me based off of them, right? And so I think that says something about how far we've gotten away from our politics have gotten away from actually caring and helping the average person. So that is something. But also too, for those who do think like that. A couple things. One, I think the reason that a lot of people think that way is because we don't focus enough on our local elections and local politics. A lot of our attention goes to what's happening nationally and what's in Washington, D.C. because it gets so much attention on social media and with the national, with stations like CNN, MSN, or MSNBC, NBC, and Fox News. And so we focus on stuff nationally, but if we tend to give our focus more to our local and state elections, then we'll understand that those elections have much more weight on what happens to us day to day, right? And how things function to us day to day. The last thing, it would be a quote from from the 44th president of the United States, Barack Obama. He had a conversation. Michelle Obama writes about this in her book, Becoming. He was having a conversation with him about his work as a community organizer, and he thought that, hey, look, you know what? The best approach is just to get down grassroots with people and help them change their lives that way. But he understood that they only go so far because policies do affect the lives of regular people, right? Whether they know it or not, or whether they feel it directly when it happens, right? And he thought, and he understood, this is why he got into politics, that, hey, someone needs to be able to change the policies to lend them to themselves so that they can help the average person. You know, if people don't feel it or if they don't see it there, then that's a problem with our politics today. But I think your sentiment, Sedacious, is one that a lot of people feel, and it doesn't, that sentiment doesn't get enough voice in the political arena.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, but that's just it for me, man. But you know, like I said, I feel like it's very important. You know what I'm saying? And as someone who is a law-abiding citizen and who has the rights, you should exercise that right, no doubt. But you know what I'm saying? I want this one time today, wanted to speak for the people that I have behind me, who I'm leading, who are like, you know what I'm saying? When it comes to this, they be like, man, I really could, you know, it really is no matter to me.
Yeah. For me, just like being transparent, like in my upbringing and like, you know, how I came up, like wasn't like big on like the rah voting and get out and vote, da da da. Like first time I can remember like voting, and I didn't even vote at this point in time, but just like voting being a thing or something that I saw like in my face was like when I was in college, you know, shout out to Wiley College. But and Obama became the president for the second term, and so everybody out there like, huh? Oh, not like, you know, everybody out there, yo, Jeezy blasted my President Black Lambo Blue. I was like, whoa, shit, you know, President Black, okay, yay, you know what I'm saying? And then going into the next presidential campaign, Hillary versus Trump, I was just like, okay, well, I didn't vote for Obama or whatever, and like I want to exercise this right, I guess, because like I'm being like force fed by the media, vote, 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 and then there's also the media and the propaganda, like don't let Trump in office, don't let Trump in office, don't let Trump in office, and then like I tell myself like, all right, well, I'm gonna go vote for Hillary, and I vote for Hillary, and I see on the TV screen like, oh shit, Hillary got the most votes, but Trump won. That didn't mean shit, nigga. And so it's just like, okay, all right, so let me take a step back and like let me try to fine comb and like really understand and like, and not just take the media's word, but like try to go about it and educate my own self personally. And how I feel about the election is, I ain't gonna lie to you, during the quarantine, I watched House of Cards. And I watched House of Cards during the quarantine. For our listeners out there who watched House of Cards, man, I watched House of Cards, and like I'm like chipping away at my teeth looking at this presidential race, like thinking about all the stuff I seen in House of Cards, which I honestly, in my heart of hearts, Christian, do not think is far-fetched from what really goes on. And like these presidential and these electoral, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's on the presidential or it's on like the local level, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm like watching this, and I'm just like, you know, when we got on the podcast, I was just like, Christian, bro, Coach Johnson, like, that nigga Trump won, bro. And it's not because, like, you know, it's like not because I think he got these views or I want him to win. It's just like I'm watching how like things are going. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm seeing, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm seeing how things are going.
Elaborate. What things are you seeing?
The great philosopher, before he parted this earth, said, cold game, but I knew it was chess. Learn the game. You're a student at best. And if you know who that great philosopher is, then shout out to you. If you don't, it's Nipsey Hussle. What I mean by that is, so back in 2000, shout out to my girl for, helping me with this research. Back in 2000, you had Gore versus Bush, right? The whole misrecount with the Florida ballots, right? So for those who may not know, I'm no super duper political person. I'm gonna try to make it brief or plain. Gore going against Bush in the 2000 presidential elections. It all came down to getting a recount in the state of Florida. Now, Bush was, what was Bush again, Christian? I forgot.
What do you mean?
Bush was Republican. Bush was a Republican. So now, when they had to do the recount, some people was just like, and when they did the recount, Bush was like in favor of a couple votes, but at the time it was like hole punch. It wasn't the type of technology we had, so they was just like, we need to recount because we don't believe that like we counted correctly according to like how the votes came in. Bush is like, no, I got the most votes. That is what it is. We ain't got time to recount. Like, that's just a waste of that. I mean, it may not be a waste of time, but like, we don't have time for that. The people need to know who's their next president now. The Gore campaign is just like, no, we want a recount. So this situation went to the Florida Supreme Court, and the Florida Supreme Court ruled that, hey, yes, everybody vote should be able to be counted. And there was some people vote, they couldn't really tell whether they're trying to select this or whether they were trying to select that. And it was just like, Florida Supreme Court ruled, hey, their votes should be counted. And the Bush campaign, brought in lawyers, keep in this word, they brought in some lawyers, and it was able to get pushed to the U.S. Supreme Court. So the U.S. Supreme Court, it trumped what the Florida Supreme Court said. The Florida Supreme Court ruled in it being the votes being recounted in Florida between Bush and Gore, and the U.S. Supreme Court said, no, y'all don't got time for this shit. So whoever had the most votes when y'all first counted, that's who motherfucking win. That's who the president. That ended up being
the mama move.
Huh?
Or the mama move.
Pull the mama move. No, get your ass over here. That ain't happening today. George Bush ended up winning that presidential campaign. Now, the lawyers that George Bush had on his court case, helping him defend this and pushing it to the U.S. Supreme Court, were these names. Well, first, the first name he had on his staff of the lawyers is Brett M. Kavanaugh or whatever. Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
Right. That is a man who Donald Trump just appointed to the Supreme Court about a year ago. Mm-hmm. Okay. The second person that was also on this team of lawyers to help George Bush back in 2000 push the vote recount to the U.S. Supreme Court and get it ruled in George Bush's favor was Amy Coney Barrett, which happens to be the woman who Donald Trump just appointed to the U.S. Supreme Court a week or so, or 2 weeks ago, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Now, on this same Supreme Court, on the same U.S. Supreme Court of Judges, there is another man. There's another man by the name of John Roberts. He was already on the U.S. Supreme Court staff back in 2000, and he was someone who he didn't necessarily vote for George Bush or whatever. I don't know who he voted for. Oh, he did vote for them. And he voted at the time that no, we're not doing our recount for Georgia. George Bush won. I mean, for Florida, George Bush won. So 20 years later, here we are. 20 years later, here we are. And so these same people, cold game, but I knew it was chess. Learn the game, you're a student at best. The same people 20 years later are now in even high, they're not even lawyers, they're just in higher arcing positions. Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh. So, and also for people out there, I also have House of Cards spinning around in my brain as well. So I feel like through these studies, through my research today, if some shake left in Florida, don't be surprised. And that's why I feel like some kind of way, Trump is gonna come out on top.
Gotcha. So
You think Florida
it wouldn't
back?
be so this time around. Okay, so just to get deep into your conspiracy theory. This time around, the state wouldn't be Florida. The state would be Pennsylvania, right? For those who are conservatives worried about the election and election integrity, the big state that's been the big hoopla in conservative circles has been the state of Pennsylvania, because they ruled a few weeks ago, them and a couple other states. I can't remember the other states, but I know this is the big state because this is the one state that's really up for grabs. That they can take in ballots that are even postmarked, as far as mail-in ballots. They can take in mail-in ballots that are postmarked up to 6 days after the election, right? Now, yes, your face is the same face that a lot of people who are pro-Trump were like, whoa, wait a second, right? Because just for those who aren't that into politics and into the cares of each side, for those who are more liberal and progressive, when it comes to voting, their big care is voter suppression, right? Hey, who's trying to suppress the votes of minorities and all the stuff like that, right? On the conservative side, the big care around voting is voter fraud and voter integrity, right? And so when something like this happens, those on the right are concerned. Wait a second. Let's say at midnight, CNN says, "Hey, Trump won Pennsylvania by 20,000 votes," right? The fear of those on the right is that, okay, now the Democrat Party has 6 days to flood in 21,000 votes.
Pennsylvania hella close right now too, by the way.
Yeah. And so with that, and that went up to the Supreme Court. Justice Roberts, who you referenced earlier, he wouldn't rule if what Pennsylvania is doing is constitutional or not. He said that he would wait to rule if it was constitutional or not until after the election. Right, so it went up to the Supreme Court because Republicans fought it. It went up to the Supreme Court for them to make a decision on it if they're allowed to do that or not. Justice John Roberts was like,
Right.
we're gonna wait to make a decision until after the election. So with all that happening, right, that can fit enough into your conspiracy theory that, hey, enough people got around President Trump and said this is what the tea leaves look like.
Yeah.
Make sure that Brett's on our side and Amy's on our side.
Because whether I look at it this way with that information you just like gave, that whether it's in Florida or Timbuktu or California, like he still has those two in position.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For any situation, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I will
it'll be pretty funny if it comes down to that.
Hey, bro.
If it comes down to that, it's gonna be pretty hilarious.
Hey, man, if that happen, we going all political facts, no more sports, bro. If that happens, hey,
Yeah.
he makes that. Hey, we gonna turn into a political media company, man. Hey, but nah, so
Hell no.
hey, but I mean, actually, it's probably a whole lot of money. Well, it is a lot of money in it, but
Hey, just to give everybody a quick update.
It is.
According to New York Times right now, and it's a little bit after 10 o'clock, the way Texas is looking right now with about 77% of the vote in, Donald Trump is leading 50.5% of the vote there. Joe Biden has 48.1%. In Ohio, we were looking at that earlier. Donald Trump is taking the lead there with 50.5% of the vote, with 69% of the votes in are counted right now or reported. And Joe Biden has 48.1% of the vote there right now. So,
One of the things I want to get into with the podcast today this week is that one of the things that I do know about politics is that the black vote is always this strong, concentrated. If we can get the black vote, we're going to the top. We ain't gonna worry about the motherfuckers when we get to the top, but if we can get their vote, we'll be just all right. Mm-hmm. So through these presidential campaigns, you've seen pictures, and Trump started, a while back, dating back to the Steve Harveys and so forth. But Trump recently, you see with a picture with Lil Wayne. If that was, I want to say last night or a couple of days ago, Lil Pump was at a Trump rally, even got on stage and said something. You see Ice Cube with the black.
The contract for Black.
Contract with Black America. You just see 50 Cent trolling and talking about, I'm with Trump, with the taxes and all that. But then on the other hand, you have Biden, and I seen on Twitter, like Biden gets a LeBron endorsement, then backdoors it with a Beyonce endorsement. Then I see a picture with Jeezy, some photo. I don't know what, I don't know if it was any conversations or whatever. Oh, it was conversation. I don't know what it was about. But Young Jeezy taking a picture with Biden or being seen in a picture with Biden. Then you see the commercials of Biden. He got motherfucking URL smack battle rappers doing commercials and so on and so forth, which is obviously, in my opinion, I think it's just trying to cater to the black audience. They're like, oh shit, Biden down with battle rap? All right, I'm gonna vote for that nigga. Right. But Darnell, Black Peace, like, how do you feel about presidential candidates like trying to, I guess, course the black vote through using entertainment icons, so to speak? Or Lil Pump and an icon, by the way. I just, in general.
First of all, I want to apologize for the first segment. I thought we were doing a little brief intro. That's why I dropped a little. But anyway, I feel like it's politics as usual. This is nothing new to America. They tend to reach out to people and make false promises. With that being said, the certain ones he got, the certain people that
sorry to cut you off. I got another conspiracy too, by the way, Christian. Continue, Darnell.
Yeah. How I feel about it, what he did was he tried to, I feel like he didn't even personally think about these people, which I'm pretty sure anybody in politics knows. He went to his team and said, go out there and look out for influential people. Hash, you have Lil Pump. He represents for the young, don't give a fuck people. That's a vote. You have Ice Cube for the old black, old school vote. Then you have Lil Wayne for the intermediate vote. You know what I'm saying? But all these people, they all have something in common to where they're kind of spoiled to a certain extent of what actually works today. So I actually looked up the Platinum Plan, if I'm not mistaken, and I see it, and I'm honestly looking at the words on the paper and saying, like, this could work. But it all comes down to, are they going to apply pressure? Are they going to light fire up under that ass? Are they actually going to do it? You know what I'm saying? People can talk all they want. Politics are the best people at talking shit and not coming through. Just like with that wall that goes down on the border of Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Remember they have that wall on the border of Mexico? They said they got that down there, right? Exactly. So they just talking cap right now, in my opinion. They're talking straight cap about, we're going to do this. Like, why does it take you this long? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think a lot of these artists, they're kind of just too away from the environment in which they grew up in to have that same feel of that's not enough or that's bullshit. Why you let it get to public, a normal guy dying publicly to where now it's a contract for Black America. Now it's a platinum plan for Black America. So I just feel like it's desperation, it's politics. I feel like anybody real and anybody smart to just pay attention to that. It's seriously, out of 4 years, I've not seen that one rapper endorse him other than Kanye West, who is a bipolar patient. So I'm just saying, bro, come on now. Politics all day long, it's all games.
Sedacious, question to you. Well, to all y'all. One of the marketing ploys I see and I feel that is implemented in the media as it relates to Donald Trump is that, like, Donald Trump, like, represents racism. If you vote for Trump, if you don't vote for Trump, and you vote for Biden, then you will be, like, ending racism, or you will be putting a significant dent in the racism in America. Like, do y'all feel like? So that's just smile.
Yeah, I think,
Do y'all
I'm not gonna lie.
feel like voting for Biden, or whoever you decide to vote for, do you feel like getting Trump out of office, out of the presidential office, is like some type of progression in doing something with the racism in America, specifically against African Americans?
I've always felt like, to the particular African American, that is a false narrative. Now, there are some African Americans who feel like they have like substantial proof that this man is a racism and stands behind racism, stands behind, you know what I'm saying, oppression, right? But that's just like, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it, but I do feel like that is a false narrative because, you know what I'm saying, I see a lot of my brothers supporting Trump, you know what I'm saying, and they have, you know what I'm saying, stuff that they stand on, good reason is why they support Trump. So, you know what I'm saying, who am I to say that they're wrong, or like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying, we all have our different views, you know, so I think,
because
hey,
some people like some black people, them voting and deciding to vote for Trump, like, be having Nathaniel to do with racism. It'd be like, yo, I like guns and I want low taxes. Trump, you know what I'm saying? But no, Coach Johnson, I see you thumbing through your library over there. Like, what you got for us?
So yeah, I was trying to grab a book. I'll put it up here a little later. But as someone who did vote for the president, as a black man who voted for the president, I'll put that out there. There are a myriad of reasons why a self-respecting black man who loves black people would vote for the president. But on the racism front, in my experience and in my opinion, the people that are most concerned about racism as a whole are not black folks. There are a lot of black people who, like, almost like what Sadesha said earlier. Hey, I'm just trying to work. I got things to care about, that I care about doing. And if they encounter racism, you know, throughout the day, you know, they kind of, hey, I got too much going on to deal with it. I think that there's an elite class of people in the in our country, mostly white people, who for some reason, you know, that's something that they are very moved by. So, and they see Trump as that thing that they got to get out of the way. But if there are black people who are concerned about Trump being a racist and they think that he is a racist, right? There is historical precedent of black people receiving positive policy from racist presidents, right? Namely, number one, Thomas Jefferson, right, was a outright racist, had a very complicated relationship with slavery, but he was one of the biggest advocates for abolition at the beginning of our country. Abraham Lincoln, go look at the Lincoln-Douglas debates. He did not think highly of black folks. He did not, right? But without him pushing things forward inside the White House in Washington, D.C., you know.
Let me interject, Christian. Do you think the sentiment in which these presidents do something matters, or does it only matter that they did it?
I think it just matters that they did it. You never know why you never really know why someone does something. They can be motivated by a bunch of different things. So, you know, if you just fast forward later, other than the Emancipation Proclamation and you know, the freeing of slaves, and then getting the 14th Amendment thereafter, the next biggest pieces of legislation for Black Americans would come in the 60s with Lyndon Baines Johnson. the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and the Fair Housing Act of 1968, right? His personal driver was a black man, right? Said, I love the man in the White House. I hate the man I drive, right? Because the man he drove was an outright racist. He asked him one day, he was like, hey, would you rather people call you boy or your name? And he's like, my name. And then he cussed him out. He was like, no, you are a boy. You are a nigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was an outright racist, but some of the most positive legislation that black people have gotten in the country came from him, right? Now, moving forward to Donald Trump, some of the biggest legislation of our day, stuff that we've been talking about as far as mass incarceration and everything, stuff that is in this book, right, basically got passed under his administration with the First Step Act, right? This is the new Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander, right? She wrote this in 2009, right? So this was published at the beginning of the Obama administration. Now, Obama's a black man, very pro-black. He cares about mass incarceration, but he was not able to get legislation passed during his presidency to free black people who had been sentenced for minor drug crimes and stuff like that in jail, where President Trump was able to get that done, right? Over 3,000 people were released out of prison over the past couple of years because of that, majority of them being black, right? So his views on black people are not if they're positive or if they're not positive. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. We work with people in our lives all the time that we don't like and that don't like us, but at the end of the day, we're still getting a check, right? Because, hey, sometimes you got to work with people that don't like you, right? As long as you figure out a way to, hey, how can I make sure they are incentivized to do something for me, right? And so, that's what you have there. So I don't think getting him out of office is going to end racism or whatever racism is in America. I don't think having him in office helps to perpetuate whatever racism is still in America right now. With him or without him, it's going to be there. I don't buy the claims deal.
One of the things that something else that I see is that not only has Biden, Darnell, how did you feel when Biden told you if you don't vote for him, you ain't black?
That, I felt like that was a power move. That was him feeling himself. That was just one of those moves where in life, dude, like you feel like you got it and you call your shot. And it's like, this, you can't call your shot off. This is the wrong time. He's also looking at it from the perspective of, you let this motherfucker tweet and say what the fuck he wants to say, which is, downright to grab you by the pussy. For Christ's sakes. I said something, and it is controversial, but, he looking at you like, what the fuck did I say? And also, I kind of can't blame him, but I do blame him wholeheartedly. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. You have it in the bag. Yeah, he absolutely said that. Yeah, he absolutely, he did say that. Yeah. And it's one of the things where, like, when he said that, even one of the things was like, it was a power move. It wasn't like anything else. It was like, dude, it's an obvious racist. Why would you vote for this dude? You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where I look at, like, if it was a, man, I know I got this dude. He's already not liked. He's already this and that. So therefore, I can say what I want. And it's like, yeah, bro, you got to comfortable with your seat player. No, that's not how it works.
Me personally, it's something, I don't trust Donald Trump either, but it's something about Biden, bro. I look at like how old he is, and it's just like, bro, I don't trust you. Like, I just don't trust him. Then him saying if you don't vote for him, you ain't black, that rubbed me the wrong way. Like Black Peace was saying, like maybe there was an arrogance to that, or him feeling like he had the black vote in the bag. What you gotta say, Daisy?
How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, look at he was vice president with Paul Obama. He looked at, I got this shit switched. Like, I've been taking pictures with Michelle and everything. Sasha, they love me.
Somebody should have smacked him. Somebody black should have smacked him. What?
They should have. I totally agree.
This is what I think is dangerous. It's not dangerous to vote for Biden. but it's dangerous, I believe, to vote for Biden with this type of mindset. And someone we haven't yet talked about is potential Vice President Kamala Harris. HU Howard University alum, AKA, so she gonna get 1 million votes. Biden gonna get 1 million votes off that alone, off the AKA.
Amen.
I think it's very dangerous to vote for Biden with the mindset that I'm gonna vote for Biden because I just know Kamala, a sister, she a black woman, she gonna keep her foot in his ass and she gonna make him do right, get in line and do right for black folk. And that, I think it's utterly dangerous to vote for Biden with that type of mindset. And one could argue Biden probably hoping people vote for him with that mindset. And once he get all the votes he want, he gonna do what the fuck he want. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, bye, bitches. you know what I mean. No, not that.
Right. What can we? I'm gonna say bitches because I don't know you. But Christian, do you share this sentiment, or like, how do you feel with people's perspective on like voting for, I guess indirectly voting for Harris by voting for Biden?
Well, I really do think that if Biden does win tonight, that Kamala Harris will end up being the president within the next couple of years. So I think when people do look at, hey, at the Biden-Harris ticket, that they do need to consider that, hey, Kamala Harris will probably end up being the president before the first term is over. There's a lot of reasons why I say that, but we'll see it. So
you think that?
But
that he's gonna win the presidency? I'm sorry to cut you off, but you think that he's gonna win the presidency and she's gonna become the president?
Yeah. Well, the reason why, a couple of reasons why. One,
hold on, Christian. You talking about like down the road or like
down the road?
The next couple,
down the road.
Like,
I'm saying down the road because of his health, because of his health, how old he is, and how there are a lot of times that he doesn't seem all the way together, right? Also, Nancy Pelosi and the House Democrats are pushing to try to have a committee to look at using the 25th Amendment, which basically allows them to remove a president for health reasons, right? Or mental reasons, or they're not fit to run the office, right?
And put who in? And put the Speaker of the House in, or the Vice President?
No, and they'll put the Vice President in, right?
Okay.
Whole game, but I knew it was chess.
Yeah. So they've been looking at that. So I would not be surprised if Biden were to win, that within the next couple of years Kamala Harris will be president. So now for the black folks who are voting for the Biden-Harris ticket because Kamala is the vice president. To be honest with you, I get it. I mean, I am someone that thinks that representation matters, and for those people who don't necessarily follow policy that much, but that they just look at, hey, I'll only just look and see who's up there. Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna interject right there if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I like that because at the end of the day, you have two possibly redneck presidents, if you look at it like that. Mm-hmm. You have Pence, who looks like the king, the leader of the Ku Klux Klan, and you got Trump. And they both have that same mindset that leads it to where I don't give a fuck about a woman or anything a woman cares about, which are the children in these fucking cages, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's that one thing that you have to look at too. You're a female in office, that compassion, like, no, dude, let's figure this shit out in a different, more humane way. Get this kid out of these cages and figure this shit out through some paperwork, do this, do that. Anyway else, more humane. That's what I look at when I look at her. I just talked to my wife about that earlier. I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, like, that's what I mainly voted for. Yes, there's a couple policies that Biden does, but mainly I voted for her because at the end of the day, it's that certain sense of, like, she reminds me of a mother, bro. She reminds me a lot of a mother. She gonna be strict with your ass, but yet show compassion. she's gonna spank the shit out of you, but at the same time though, care enough for you to like make sure you don't go run away. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what she's gonna deliver to the White House. She's gonna be able to smack down on this shit that needs to get smacked the fuck down. But at the same time though, hopefully, which is always a challenge, bring this country closer like Obama was on the verge of doing, which he did. I feel like there was a lot more peaceful things. I mean, you know, rainbows are going out, double rainbows, you know, butterflies, all kind of good shit when Obama was in office. You know, but at the end of the day, that's what I'm hoping that she will at least bring to the table. You know, of course, it's not everything with politics, but you know, compassion does go a long way. Having a heart goes a long way. Those two that are in office right now, in my opinion, they have a selective heart. Can't say they don't, but they definitely have a very strong selective heart in what they choose to be compassionate about. Here, I see that to be a down the middle.
I just want to push back just a little bit. I think that that the selective empathy, if we will, I think that is true for every human being and true for every politician. I think that if you ask Kamala Harris, hey, would you show compassion to those folks who can't go to church right now, and you know, try to figure out a way to open up society so those people who want to worship and go to church can go to church. I think she'll say, get the F on. You know, you know, I mean, I'm just saying that you know, but beyond that, on the front of the kids in cages, I think we have to remember that the separations at the border between parents and children was an Obama era policy, right? And the kids in cages thing started with him during his presidency, right? It did not start with Trump and Pence. It started with him, right? Now, Trump and Pence have not figured out a way to better handle the situation, right? So it has maintained since then. But here's the hard thing about what happens at the border, right? With trying to figure out a way to best handle the situation, right? Is that you have people who try to come into the country, you know, illegally, and once they're captured, right, they now have committed a crime, right? And you know, crime, you know, crossing the border, but they have children with them, and so you have to figure, okay, are we going to place the children in jails now with the adults, right? Anything can happen there, right? You know, there are a myriad of stories of kids, you know, who are juveniles who get sentenced to life in prison, and they go to jail or go to prison, not to jail, they go to prison with adults. And there's a lot of bad things that happen there, right? And so, hey, we're going to do that now with kids who come over the border. So, so there's the policy of, hey, let's just separate them. One, a lot of times those kids come over the border, they don't come over the border with their parents. They come over the border with other people, right? And so it's like, hey, okay, we separate them. We try to figure out what to do with the kids, right? Sure, there might be something better that can be done there. There's a lot that needs to happen there. But the quote inhumanity of having kids in quote unquote cages, they're in the places they have right now, right? I mean, sure they need to figure something out that's better than that, but it's a much more complicated situation than, oh, they just don't care about it, they're just throwing kids in cages, right? It's a much more complicated situation down there. But as far as your thing on empathy, I'm with it. I get that. You know, if that's something that you care about, then I think that's something you should vote for. You should vote for the things that you care about. But
I mean, at the end of the day, I just do feel like a lot of things, even situations, not even just that necessarily, but just situations. Not every little thing needs to be, you know, held and whatever. And that's the beauty of, like what I said about the whole motherly aspect that she'll bring to the table. Is like, not every situation needs to be mothered and hold your hand. Some things need to be smacked down. Like, no, this is reality. And that's what Trump does. But it's like at a certain point, it's like, okay, dude, some things are black and blue. There is no way around it. You have to call a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying? Like a guy comes up in there and shoots up a whole church. There is no way around it. that man, there is no I need help. Because at the same time, you can say the same thing about a gangbanger who shoots people. You're not gonna do it, but instead they choose to say it's black on black when it's really more of a you're consumed by your environment. You ain't consumed so much by your environment to where you're literally insane. Half these people that do these quote unquote things that Trump call them sick people have not necessarily went through half the things that these people are doing every day that are are frowned upon. You know what I'm saying? Like you hear about a gangbanger calling another gangbanger, oh, he just ruthless. He don't care. You don't look at the fact that he, was poor and he had to watch his mom do this and go through that and so on and so forth. It's automatically he's a criminal. And yet when you have these people over here who have been raised in the right neighborhood, this and that, and just technically did not get their way. And I know this is based off of just watching the biographies of like these kids are not fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The kids are actually in the positions I pray and wish my kids would go in, or even myself would have went through. So I look at it like some of those situations where you say, "Oh, those people, they're misunderstood." It's like, no, a spade is a spade. You can say what you want to say, but at the end of the day, but when the shoe's on the other foot, you're not gonna say that. You're gonna say, "Oh, they're senseless. They don't care. They're thugs. They're this. They're that." It's like, no, dude. Like, you have to be at a certain point where, okay, this is right and that's wrong. And it shouldn't take about if you're a Republican or Democrat. It's about you being human. A person coming in and shoot up 10 people and do shit to you at all. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That is wrong. But if you have a person that has a conflict and an issue, not saying that it's right, but come on, dude. Mm-hmm. You gonna call that worse than a person that come in and shoot innocent people, let alone children in some instance? So yeah.
I would say I don't think there's nothing wrong. I'm for voting for Kamala, with it being like a long-term mindset to be like, we're gonna vote for Biden just to get her some momentum to like try to push her in there once Biden's term is up, or if Biden gets sick or whatever. It's just I don't like the idea of like voting for Biden with like this immediate mindset that he gonna like start doing for black people. Just because like Kamala is there. Like that's
you
know what I'm saying? But definitely, I mean, like definitely like her being in office, being the first, black president, in the near future possibly would definitely be a great and iconic thing for like black women. Also adding to my conspiracy is getting a little close. It's getting a little close. So Christian was touching on how the separation of children and parents at the camps at the border started with the Obama administration. So another thing that happened in the Obama administration from an article that I read that kind of played a part in Hillary not winning was when Obama went to Michigan during like the Flint crisis. Went to Flint with the governor of the state. Was talking to people to saying, yo, I drank from this water. There's nothing wrong with the water. The water's fine. Obama pull out of there, going by his business, and comes to find out, like, you was wrong, Obama. This water is nasty. Like, this water is sanitary. Like, you were wrong, Obama.
It's filthy.
Right. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach Johnson, but Michigan is one of those swing states, right?
Yeah, right now it's in play as a swing state.
Okay, so Obama goes to Michigan as a Democrat, says that, yo, y'all water fine, then leaves, comes to find out, yo, no, you lied, like this water is out of whack. Like, Obama, fuck you, fuck the Democratic Party, because y'all lied to us. All right, Obama, your term is up. Hillary's coming in. No, you guilty by association. Like, we're not fucking with Democrats because, like, the head of Democrats, the president at the time, lied to us and telling us that our water was sanitary, and it wasn't. And so Hillary Clinton had this idea in her mind that, yo, we know people not really fucking with us as Democrats because of what happened with the water in Obama. So my Hillary campaign is not even going to go to Michigan, with it being a swing state. And maybe they did, maybe I don't think they went at all from the article I read. And not only am I not going to go there, I'm not gonna post no flyers. I'm not gonna post no banners. I'm not gonna do none of that. And this is her reasoning, or the person who was ahead of her campaign, for not posting flyers in throughout Michigan, which is a swing state. The Hillary campaign did not want to post flyers and banners or whatever saying vote for Hillary, because their campaign was worried that if Trump supporters saw Hillary's posters and banners all around Michigan, that was going to infuriate them more to want to go out and vote. You just say, I ain't going to go over there because I don't want to incite the other people to start. Motherfucker, they only got one vote. It don't, like, you know what I'm saying? And so when I heard that, I was just like, and I voted for you, bro, or you didn't even want to put up a fight? Like, what the fuck is we doing, right? And so since then, it was a guy who actually, I forget his name in the article, but he like predicted that Trump was going to win, and that's the reason. That was one of his leading reasons why Trump was going to win, because he's like, yo, I stay in Michigan, like I'm around this area, Detroit, Flint, so on and so forth, and like I see Trump, but like I don't see, I see all these Trump posters and banners, I see no Hillary, nothing, nowhere. So people are just being psychologically already programmed, like, shit, if I go to a poll and I really don't know much about anything, shit, the only thing I've been seeing is Trump. I'm gonna vote for this guy. I guess he's putting in work. You know what I'm saying? But Hillary's reasoning for not wanting to post flyers or posters around the city or around the state of Detroit or around the state of Michigan is because, like, she didn't want to, like, give other Trump supporters momentum to, like, this shit is stupid and that's dumb. And I think also, Christian, I don't know if Biden has like been to Michigan or not, but if he hasn't, he didn't go to, he went, but he didn't fuck with the black communities or whatever, and him going around or whatever in Michigan.
He did the same shit.
Yeah, he did the same
I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure. I know he did go to Michigan because he went there around the same time Jacob Blake was going on. So he made a trip to Wisconsin and to Michigan. But also, too, with the Biden campaign, you got to realize Biden hadn't campaigned really at all this whole time.
Bro, and this is another thing. Thank you for that, Christian. Bro, shout out to my dogs back Homestead Block, Riverwood. Some of the most gruesome battles at Barbara Jordan Park we've ever had. Bro, this may not apply to Hillary, but this is just the sentiment that if you ain't trying to cheat, you ain't trying to win. Like, point blank, period, bro. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm thinking, and I could be wrong, just assuming, Christian, when I cut you off, you saying like he hadn't been campaigning really at all. And I don't know if that was a part of him saying, I'm going to be safe in the midst of Corona and COVID. You guys aren't going to travel. So, man, sit your dumb ass down with that. You trying to win or not,
you better
bro?
Get out of here. You
trying to win or not? Like, you just going to sit there on your hands and
you better get out here.
Like, bro, ain't nobody voting for you. You ain't even trying. Again, like Hillary, you not even trying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you're not going to
do shit. And this just be like my hang up with Trump. Like, Trump don't, I mean, that's my hang up with Biden. Like, he don't be looking like he's trying to win. Like, he don't look like he's putting up a fight. Like, I mean, just off, like, media perception of what I see through, like, the media and when I hear his voice. Now, he may win the election, landslide, I don't know. But just off face value from what I see when he's in the media, he's in the crowds, it just be like, bro, can you put up a fight? What you mean you ain't going to travel? It's like, all right,
look
so
at like
you going to let Trump get out and get this head start on your motherfucking ass?
Bro,
can I say something?
Go.
Okay, there's a commercial that Trump has
bro, let me cut you off. I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. You helped me, bro. I'm sorry, bro. No, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, I'm tired of like all these campaigns.
You cut off the cutoff because I cut off down there. You gonna cut me off? You can go down here and cut me off,
bro. I'm tired of like all these like campaigns like interrupting like my YouTube time. Like when I'm trying to watch videos and clips and stuff. I'm tired of it. Now, what I'm mostly tired of, I hate getting on there and Trump be letting his nuts hang. Biden ain't this, Biden ain't that. like Biden, mama, da 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 da. I'm making that up, but like whatever, bro. Like Trump be letting his nuts. He do not care what he be saying as it relates to Biden. Like, bro, so he let shots off. He let shots off. So I'm like, damn, Trump like really about that action. Like he don't care. He gonna do what it takes. Biden get on this motherfucker. I am not going to partake in going back and I was like, man, get out of here, bro. You don't even want to fight. Get out of here.
I'm not gonna go back and forth with this, man. That's how much class I have. Vote for me because I have class.
Man, fuck out of here, bro. Biden get on my nerves with that, dog. He just don't give me that vigor, like you know what I'm saying?
We share the same sentiment when it comes to that. Because that commercial when Trump showed that Biden don't fuck with black guys, he's like, we all know who he don't fuck with. I'm like, he don't fuck with us, Trump. That's who he don't fuck with. He don't fuck with us.
Yes, man.
I'm like, damn, Biden, you look bad looking bad out here. You not gonna respond to this? They gonna respond to this, man?
Bro, that nigga just called you a bitch, bro.
Tape. You just gonna use this. Right. You gotta respond to that, dude.
Bro, I'm trying to tell you, dog. Like, hey, you know how Lil Wayne at the end, I don't forget what song, he was like, and your nigga a hoe. Like, that'd be Trump campaigns. Like, Trump, he'll be talking about whatever, like at the end, just randomly, and Biden's a hoe. You be like, what did Biden have to do? Like, man, dog, this shit be making me mad, dog.
Once again, bro, like I said earlier, he feels like he's dug big enough hole for himself. That's not a good idea. He keeps going off the thing of, yep, you dug enough big. That's what Obama low-key did, bro. Obama coasted into the White House. He did his thing, don't get me wrong. His speeches are amazing. But at the end of the day, the Republican Party with George Bush, they dug big enough hole. He didn't have to fuck up. And you know, the last person that did talk too much happened, that was Hillary. Hillary talked too goddamn much. Maybe not in Michigan, but everywhere else talked ran the goddamn mouth and ran themselves to a goddamn hole. Am I goddamn right? She said, you talk too goddamn much, ran herself to a goddamn hole. Now that's what Biden said. Oh, y'all like people that talk too much. I'm gonna shut the fuck up. I'm gonna let him run himself to a goddamn hole. You know what I'm saying? I ain't blaming it either.
I see that.
I ain't blaming it either, but that's what it is. Like, she's going toe to toe. She's like, nah, but that got you into the hole.
Yeah, I think the strategy for Biden has been basically he understands really he understands where his enthusiasm comes from, right? Because when there was a Gallup poll or Pew Research poll that came out a few months ago, and they were like, I forgot the exact questions they asked. They were like, are you more excited to have Biden as a president or to get Trump out of office? And like 60% of people said they're more excited to get Trump out of office. And like something like 30% of people said they're excited to have Biden as president. And so with that understanding, his people was probably like, look, as long as you don't F up, you just keep him in the media, right? Corona's here, okay? People are it's just not going good for everybody. Economy's down, people losing jobs, don't have no stimulus. Just keep him in the spotlight. Shut up.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
In the spotlight, and maybe we'll be all right.
We gotta wrap, but I want to go after you, Edward.
Christian, I'm just asking, was that not the same strategy as like Hillary? I heard people saying that. I don't know how accurate it was, but like,
I'm not exactly sure because I really wasn't following politics that well back then.
Okay.
I actually, back at the last election, I pretty much had the same view that Sedacious has right now on this. None of this stuff don't matter, right? My journey to how political I am, you know, how involved in politics I am right now, it's been about a 4-year journey since President Trump got elected last time. It's funny because around this time last year, I remember sitting watching the election, I hadn't voted, right? I didn't care, right? All I knew is that everyone didn't want Trump to win. And as the numbers were coming in that he was winning, I was cracking up. I was like, this is the funniest thing on the planet to watch these reporters melt down on live TV. I just thought it was hilarious because I didn't care. I was like, look, I'm going to work tomorrow, and the only person that's going to get somebody to buy a car is me.
Right.
Hillary Clinton and President Trump is not going to help me pay my bills next week. So it's all up to me. So that's how I used to be. So I'm not exactly sure what her particular strategy was last time. I really think for her, just from the stuff that I've seen post what actually happened, it seemed like she was just kind of arrogant. Like, hey, I'm next in line. There's a joke of a person who's running for president who's never been in office. He's a reality TV star.
Lord, preach, bro.
Horribles are his base. You know,
It sounds like the same
rednecks with
sentiment of
trucks.
strategy Biden on.
You know,
Exactly. But quieter.
so that's
It's my
probably
turn.
what's going on there.
We can move on to the next segment after this. Okay, so to piggyback off you, Coach Johnson. So think about the shock perspective, because this is where I'm coming from all night.
Mhm.
The shock perspective. Think about, I worked while Trump was president, while everybody talked shit about him. I don't know who this man is talking shit about. But when the crisis happened, the pandemic, I lose my job. He gives me the stimulus check. He gives me the unemployment. And now I have a job. So now when it's time to vote, I'm going to probably vote for never voting, not giving a fuck ever, just the shock perspective. But now I think about the president who I was under when I got my first stimulus check, when I got the 600, when the 600 kept coming in for the unemployment, and now I have a new job. And there was one president that happened within that 4 or 5 month span, and now November's here, and I gotta go vote, and they tell me, well, this nigga ain't been campaigning half-assed, and it seems like he don't give a shit. But this nigga who really trying to get in office is the same nigga that got you the stimulus check, he got you the unemployment, and you fuck around got a job under his administration. So how about we get that vote out your ass? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, just to piggyback off that real quick, I know you want to move on, Edward, but
No. You get the closing remarks as our lead correspondent because we got to wrap. So give us whatever you want to say and close us out.
I think if President Trump wins, it's the same thing I told you earlier. If he wins tonight, I think tomorrow a lot of people are going to be saying a lot of bad things about black men, right? Because I think that the reason he's going to win is because of really the black vote, period, but especially black men. Because you asked me, you were like, hey, you know, Biden got Beyonce endorsement, Biden got LeBron James endorsement. Man, what do you think? And I'm like, there's a significant portion of black folks who are like, okay, LeBron good. Beyonce is good. Bruh, what's that gonna do for me? Okay,
Yeah.
I see 50 Ice Cube didn't really endorse Trump, but you know, Lil Wayne, Lil Pump, all them people endorsing Trump. But guess what though? I've also seen what Trump has done. Hey, I had a job while he was in office. The rent that Sedacious just went on, right? Hey, when I lost my job because of the pandemic, I got a stimulus check, had unemployment come in. I've seen and heard about the stuff that he did with HBCUs. I've seen and heard about the stuff that he did with criminal justice reform. I've seen and heard about the opportunity zones that he has coming in, that he worked with T.I. and Charlamagne the God on with Senator Tim Scott. I see him trying to at least try to come give me something tangible other than I stand with you black people. Right?
Yeah.
I stand with you black folks it's not going to necessarily change what's happening with me. And so I think that there's a significant amount of black men in particular that are tired of the virtue signaling of, hey, I'm down with the black folks, and they're like, hey, look, you got to give some concrete. Even I don't know if P. Diddy voted this election, but I remember he was doing an interview with I forgot the model's name, this model on her podcast, and he was like, look, I'm tired of doing rock the vote and ain't getting nothing from it. He was like, they gotta bring me something for my vote. I'm tired of it. And so it's like, hey, you're gonna give me celebrities that already got it, or are you gonna actually give me something tangible that's gonna help me in my life? And so, so I think that if Trump wins, the Hispanic people already showed up big in Florida. They're showing up big in Nevada for him. He got 2+% of what he had last time in Florida with black voters, which I think is going to give a little bit more, around the rest of the country. So, ironically, the racist president is getting the minority vote coming his way.
That's crazy, man. That's it.
Yo, fellas, we did our damn thing this week. We showed boys, we can switch it up. We diverse. We ain't gotta do sports. Boys can get political on our CNN type shit. You feel me? Yeah, but no, man, we're about to get out of here. We know our correspondent out there in the fields. He didn't join us this week because he was really out there in the trenches, helping us, get a post on the Texas. And I got word in from him. He's telling me Donald Trump right now is up with 51.3% of the votes.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you, Sean Hart. And Joe Biden also has he's telling me 47.4%. But it's also looking like that Donald Trump will probably take Texas right now with the voting. Texas also has 38 electoral votes too. So, all right, Sean Hart, we're gonna get you over here, man. We're gonna catch up with you next week and get you in the studio. Yep. All right, man. You have a good night too. All right.
I remember Sean Hart.
Yeah. So beautiful people, thank y'all so motherfucking me goddamn much for listening to us and supporting us. We do not take y'all listening for granted. Man, we just love what we do. Talking great conversation as always, whether that's political, whether that's sports, whether that's fatherhood. Keep supporting us. We're gonna appreciate it. We're gonna keep coming to y'all, being consistent with what it is that we do. Like Christian said, he started his political journey like right around the time Trump got elected 4 years ago. I myself personally am just like starting my political journey and educating myself and learning and really just trying to put myself in a position to understand and putting myself in a position to be like, okay, how can I truly make my vote count? And I will close out tonight by saying a way you can really start to understand how can your vote really and truly count. I'm just starting my journey, so I'm not going to butcher it by trying to explain it to you. But for those who out there who do want to start their journey on politics and educating yourself on making your vote count, I would challenge you to go out there and research the definition and the meaning and the origin of gerrymandering. That is a political voting term, gerrymandering, that I just ran across and discovered. And if you want to, I don't really want to give them endorsement. Like, I'm like steadfast on not giving out free endorsements till we like really get our first sponsor. But gerrymandering. That's GERRYMANDERING. And I think that is a great trampoline to help push you into educating yourself on voting and politics. We are the No Name Podcast. I am Edward McFarlane. That's the name my mother gave me after my father, who's a great man. And we're closing out this tonight's coverage of the presidential election campaign of 2020. And I have my brother's Black Peace, who's done a remarkable job giving us coverage out there in the Conroe, Montgomery area of Texas. Definitely out the hood and the trenches of Fort Force, Studewood, polling areas. We have Live the Rapper, and also Sedacious. And we can't say enough about our leading correspondent, our senior correspondent, well beyond his years, and will probably sometimes not be able to be on the podcast in the future because he has political obligations. And our senior correspondent, Coach Johnson out of Washington, D.C. So thank you, beautiful people, for joining us, and we will be back next week with maybe a new president, maybe not. And
Hey.
we're gonna bring the sports back. So relax. No Name Podcast. We sounding like this. So good night.
I got $10 on Biden.